Welcome to Shatter.
The photo stayed on her story for less than an hour. Black dress, soft lighting, a glass of champagne lifted toward the mirror. Caption, Girls' Night. I recognized the mirror before I recognized the dress. Same bronze frame. Same narrow hallway lamp behind her shoulder. Same marble counter that once held a cake with candles shaped like the number 5. I had booked that boutique hotel for our anniversary. She had cried when she walked into the room. Said no one had ever done something like that for her. Now the mirror was in the background of a photo meant for everyone but me. I was standing in the service bay when I saw it. Oil stains on my hands. Phone buzzing against a metal toolbox. The kind of notification you don't expect to matter. Just another story. Another post from the wife who lived her life through a front-facing camera. Engines were running around me. Air compressors hissing. Someone shouting about a late pickup. The normal rhythm of the shop. Concrete. Noise. Heat. Everything stayed loud. But something inside me went completely silent. I didn't screenshot it right away. I opened the hotel website first. Same wallpaper. Same sink. Same angle from the mirror toward the door. The memory came back fast. The way she filmed the room that night. The way she spun in front of the mirror and laughed because the lighting made everything look expensive. I saved the story after that. She posted 3 more slides. Cocktails. A group selfie with 2 women from her influencer circle. A boomerang of clinking glasses. The location sticker carefully cropped out. Girls' Night. My phone lit up again while I wiped grease from my hands. A message preview from her name popped across the screen. A heart emoji. A question about dinner. Casual. Easy. Like every other day. Across the shop, my night manager Ethan walked toward me holding an invoice and talking about parts that hadn't arrived. His voice blurred into background noise while I stared at the saved screenshot. I opened the anniversary folder in my photos. Scrolled past the cake. The bed. The window view. The mirror. Same angle. Same reflection. Ethan stopped talking mid-sentence and followed my gaze to the phone in my hand. He didn't ask questions. He just went quiet, like the shop had suddenly lost power. I slipped the phone into my pocket and told him to close early tonight. I did not call her that night. Instead, I finished the paperwork, locked the service bay, and drove past the hotel on my way home. The sign out front glowed the same soft gold it had the night I carried flowers through those doors. A valet stood by the entrance, checking his phone between cars. 2 women in heels laughed near the curb, waiting for a ride. I did not go inside. At home, the kitchen lights were on. The island was covered in PR packages she had filmed earlier that week. Skincare boxes. A pair of designer heels still in tissue paper. Her ring light stood in the corner of the living room like a permanent guest. I opened her profile again. The comments under the Girls' Night post were stacking up. Fire emojis. Heart eyes. One username sat near the top, the same one I had seen too often lately. Mason Cole. Restaurant owner. Verified checkmark. His comment was simple. A wine glass emoji and a private joke about that mirror lighting. I clicked his profile. Photos of him in tailored suits. Behind the bar at his place across town. Group shots with local bloggers. And there she was in one of them, tagged from a tasting event a few weeks back. She had told me that night it was a brand collaboration dinner. I had stayed late at the shop because a customer needed his truck by morning. I scrolled further. His stories were still up. A dim room. A plate of oysters. A short clip of someone's hand reaching for a drink. The bracelet on that wrist was hers. I had bought it for her birthday. Thin gold chain. Small oval charm. I set my phone down and walked into our bedroom. Her closet door was slightly open. Dresses arranged by color. Shoes lined up in pairs. The suitcase she used for weekend brand trips sat on the top shelf. My phone buzzed again. A text this time. She wrote that the girls might stay out late and that I should not wait up. I typed nothing back. Instead, I opened our shared calendar and quietly canceled the Napa trip we had planned for next month. The confirmation email landed in my inbox a few seconds later. Downstairs, the refrigerator hummed in the silence. She came home near sunrise, heels in her hand, makeup still perfect. She moved through the hallway carefully, like the house might be asleep without me. I was already in the kitchen, drinking coffee before heading to the shop. She kissed my cheek and said the girls had too much wine and too many stories. She laughed while reaching for a bottle of water, telling it like a scene she would later edit into something light and harmless. I watched her reflection in the stainless steel of the refrigerator door. The bracelet was gone. I did not ask about it. After she went upstairs to shower, I opened our phone carrier app. The account was under my name. Always had been. I scrolled through call logs and data spikes. A number I did not recognize appeared again and again over the past month. Short calls at first, then longer ones, then late-night data usage from locations that were not tagged at home. I copied the number into my browser. Mason Cole's restaurant website loaded first. Contact information at the bottom. Same number. I did not feel a rush of anger. I felt precision. When she came down dressed in athleisure and oversized sunglasses, she said she had a content shoot later and might meet a brand friend for lunch. She said it casually, like it was part of the routine. I nodded and told her I had to replace the locks on one of the shop's storage units because of a break-in down the block. She barely heard me. She was already recording a story about her slow morning reset. After she left, I walked through the house with my phone in my hand. I removed her access from my business banking app, then from the shared cloud drive where I kept invoices and property documents. I changed the passwords on my streaming accounts and disabled family sharing on the music platform she used daily. Each confirmation email arrived quietly. In the bedroom, I reached for the small safe in the closet and took out the property deed. The apartment had been mine long before the wedding. I locked it back up. Then I called a locksmith. The locksmith arrived in the afternoon while I was still at the shop. I gave him the address and told him I would meet him there. When I pulled up, his van was already parked outside the building, tools laid out neatly on a cloth by my front door. Inside, the apartment still smelled like her perfume. He worked quietly, replacing the cylinder, testing the new keys, handing them to me without asking questions. I stood there and listened to the sound of metal clicking into place. It was clean. Final. No drama in it. When he left, I walked through every room. Her ring light was still plugged in. Her laptop sat open on the dining table with an Instagram dashboard pulled up. Notifications kept popping at the top of the screen. Likes, new followers, direct messages. One name appeared again and again. Mason. I did not open the messages. Instead, I opened the drawer where we kept spare keys and removed hers from the small ceramic tray. I placed it in my pocket. Then I went to the closet and brought down her suitcase. I folded clothes carefully, dresses first, then shoes wrapped in dust bags, makeup pouches zipped and stacked. I did not rush. I did not break anything. When the suitcase filled up, I set it by the door. The sun was lower when my phone vibrated. She had posted again. A photo from what she captioned as a late lunch meeting. The tablecloth was white linen. The plate was arranged like something from a tasting menu. Across the table, the corner of a man's jacket sleeve was visible. Navy fabric. Crisp cuff. I zoomed in on the reflection in the wine glass. Mason's face was blurred but recognizable. Same jawline from his profile photos. Same haircut. Under the post, he had commented again. Something about good company and better wine. I walked to the balcony and looked down at the street. Cars moving. People walking dogs. Normal life. My phone buzzed with a message from her. She wrote that she might stay out again and that I should not wait up. I turned off my read receipts and did not answer. She did not come home that night. Her location on the phone plan showed data activity near the same boutique hotel. Not exact coordinates, just enough to confirm what I already knew. The kind of confirmation that removes doubt and leaves only decisions. I drove there again, not to confront anyone, not to walk through the lobby like a husband in a scene from a cheap drama. I parked across the street and stayed inside my truck with the engine off. The valet rotated shifts. Couples walked in and out. A man in a navy jacket stepped out of a rideshare and adjusted his cuff before heading toward the entrance. Even from a distance, I recognized the posture. Mason moved like someone used to being watched. He checked his phone before going inside. A few minutes later, her story updated. A close-up of her face. Soft lighting. The caption said something about much-needed downtime. The mirror behind her was angled differently this time, but the wallpaper pattern matched the one I had memorized. I saved that too. I did not go in. Instead, I opened my email and forwarded the Napa cancellation confirmation to myself again, then archived it. I contacted the airline and used travel credits to book a solo flight for a different weekend. Not Napa, somewhere quieter. When I got home, the suitcase still stood by the door. I carried it downstairs to the lobby and left it beside the mailboxes where security cameras could see everything clearly. Then I went back up and sat in the dark living room. My phone lit up after midnight. She sent a message asking if I was awake. Another one followed when I did not answer. She said the girls had decided to crash at a hotel because it was safer than driving. I watched the typing bubble appear and disappear. I opened the building management app and requested new access codes for the garage and elevator. The confirmation came through before dawn. Upstairs, the bedroom felt larger than it had in years. She came back the next afternoon. I watched through the security app as she walked into the lobby, sunglasses on, phone pressed to her ear. The suitcase I had left by the mailboxes was gone. I had asked the front desk to hold it behind the counter under my name. They did not ask questions. She swiped her garage fob first. The light blinked red. She tried again. Then she moved to the elevator panel and tapped her code. Another red light. Her shoulders stiffened. She stepped back and checked her phone, probably assuming the building system was down. She called me. I let it ring. A minute later, my screen filled with notifications. Missed calls. Texts stacking one after another. She wrote that something was wrong with the building access. She asked if I could call management. She added a laughing emoji, like it was an inconvenience, nothing more. I opened the camera feed again. She walked to the front desk. I could not hear the conversation, but I saw the receptionist slide the suitcase toward her. I saw the confusion on her face shift into something sharper. She pointed toward the elevators. The receptionist shook her head. My phone rang again. This time, I answered. I did not raise my voice. I did not ask where she had been. I told her that her things were packed and that she should collect everything today. There was silence on the other end before she said I was overreacting. She said it like a line she had rehearsed. She said nothing had happened, that it was just networking, just content, just dinner. Through the camera, I watched her pace near the lobby windows, suitcase handle in her hand. I told her I did not compete with subscribers. She started talking faster after that, her free hand moving as if I could see it through the phone. She said I was being dramatic. She said we could talk upstairs. I told her there was no upstairs for her anymore. Then I ended the call and removed her number from my favorites. Outside, she stood alone in the lobby, phone still pressed to her ear, listening to nothing. By evening, her Instagram went quiet. No soft lighting, no curated captions, no filtered smile in a hotel mirror. Instead, my phone filled with calls from numbers I recognized. One from her friend Kayla, another from a local photographer who had shot half of her content. Even Mason called once. I let all of them go to voicemail. At the shop, the noise felt different that day. Ethan noticed before anyone else. He asked if everything at home was fine. I told him it was handled. He nodded and did not press. Later, while reviewing invoices in the office, I opened Mason's restaurant page again. Comments had started appearing under his latest post. Someone had tagged my wife's profile with a question about loyalty. Another account had replied with a screenshot from her girls' night story, zoomed in on the hotel wallpaper. The internet moves fast when patterns show up twice. I did not send anything. I did not comment. I simply watched as people began connecting dots on their own. That night, she sent a long message. It started with anger and shifted into explanation. She said the dinners were business. She said attention online did not mean anything offline. She said I was throwing away a marriage over a misunderstanding. I read every word without replying. An hour later, she sent another message, shorter this time. She asked where she was supposed to go. I transferred 1 month's rent to her personal account and attached a brief note that said it was temporary. Then I blocked her on social media, but left my phone number unblocked. The next morning, a local food blogger posted a vague statement about respecting boundaries. Mason's account stopped tagging lifestyle influencers altogether. His comments section turned off. At the shop, a regular customer mentioned seeing drama online and laughed about how messy influencers could be. I wiped my hands with a clean rag and moved on to the next car. When I got home, the apartment felt steady, quieter than before. Her ring light was gone. She showed up at the shop 3 days later. Not in heels, not dressed for photos. She wore jeans and a plain sweater, hair pulled back like she had not styled it for a camera. She stood just inside the open bay door while engines idled around her. Ethan glanced at me from under the hood of a pickup and then quietly disappeared into the back office. I walked toward her, wiping my hands on a rag. She looked smaller standing there between tool chests and concrete floors. The The smell of oil and metal did not belong to her world of soft filters and curated captions. She said we needed to talk somewhere private. I told her we could talk right there. Her eyes moved around the shop, noticing the mechanics watching without staring. She lowered her voice and said she never meant for things to go that far. She said Mason was just a connection at first, someone who understood her work, someone who appreciated her ambition. She said the hotel had been a mistake. I did not ask for details. She said she had ended it. She said he had stopped answering her calls after the online rumors started. She said people were judging her without knowing the truth. I listened without interrupting. When she finished, she asked if I really thought she would throw away everything for a few dinners. I told her it was not about dinners. A tow truck pulled into the lot, and the driver climbed out, giving me a nod. Life kept moving around us. Tires screeched lightly as a car was lifted onto a ramp. She reached for my arm. I stepped back just enough so her hand met air instead of fabric. I told her I had not disappeared. I had just stopped standing where I was not respected. Her face tightened, not in anger but in realization. She asked if there was any way back. I told her that if there ever was, it would not look like what we had before. Then I turned and walked back to the truck waiting for me. The fallout did not happen all at once. It unraveled in pieces. A week after she came to the shop, a local boutique removed her photos from their website. The post announcing their collaboration quietly disappeared. Comments under her latest upload shifted in tone. Fewer compliments. More questions. She tried to return to normal. Morning routines. Coffee reels. Soft captions about growth and self-care. But the engagement dropped. The numbers told a different story than her smile. I did not reach out. One evening, she called instead of texting. Her voice sounded tired, stripped of the practiced brightness she used online. She said brands were pausing contracts. She said Mason had publicly denied anything serious and was now seen at events with other influencers. She said people were treating her like the only one responsible. I listened while standing on my balcony, watching traffic below. She said she had misjudged attention for value. She said she thought I would always be there, steady and patient, no matter how far she drifted. She admitted she had liked the way Mason made her feel visible, especially on nights when my world revolved around engines and invoices. I did not interrupt. When she asked if I felt any satisfaction seeing her struggle, I told her I felt clarity. There was a long silence after that. She said she had moved into a short-term rental and that it felt temporary in every sense. She said the quiet was louder than she expected. She asked if I ever missed her. I told her I missed the version of us that did not need an audience. She did not argue. Before hanging up, she said she understood now that the mirror in that hotel room had reflected more than just her outfit. After the call ended, I set my phone down and looked around my apartment. The walls were the same. The furniture was the same. But the space felt like it belonged to me again. She asked to see me one last time. Not at the shop. Not at the apartment. She suggested a quiet coffee place halfway between her rental and my place. Neutral ground. When I walked in, she was already there, sitting by the window without a camera, without a tripod, without her phone propped up for content. It lay face down on the table. She looked different without the performance. No dramatic makeup. No curated angle. Just tired eyes and hands wrapped around a paper cup. I sat across from her. She did not start with excuses this time. She said she had confused attention with admiration and access with intimacy. She said when Mason stopped answering her messages after the rumors started, she realized how replaceable she had been in his world. She admitted that the hotel was not about love or even passion. It was about being seen. I let her speak until there was nothing left to add. Outside, traffic moved past the window. Inside, the barista called out names for pickup orders. She said she had turned down new collaborations because she needed to decide who she was without a feed. She said she had started meeting with a counselor on her own. She did not ask me to fix anything. She only said she finally understood that I had not overreacted. I told her I had never needed to shout to be clear. There was a pause between us that felt steady instead of tense. She asked if there was any future for us. I told her there could be a conversation, but it would move slowly, without secrecy, without late-night hotel mirrors, without strangers validating what should have stayed private. I said trust would not be assumed again. It would be earned. She nodded, not dramatically, just once. When we stood to leave, I did not reach for her hand. I did not promise anything. I walked out first. This time, I was not disappearing. I was choosing where I showed up.